What if the reason you can't follow through on your goals, the things that you know you need to do, has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with your environment? And so if you've ever told yourself, I just need to try harder, or I just need to be more disciplined, spoiler alert, discipline isn't your problem and neither is motivation. So today we are talking about the environments that either set you up for discipline or silently work against it every single day. And let me be clear. This episode might irritate you, hopefully in a good way, but the reality is 9 times out of 10, trying harder isn't the answer. What's good, y'all? It's your girl Candia, your personal hype woman on a mission to help you show up and speak up anyway and lead without losing it when life is just getting messy at home and even at work. So here's the thing. I hear I need to try harder. I need to be more disciplined from friends, clients, all the people who beat themselves up because they can't follow through on commitments and show up and do what they need to do even when they don't feel like it. Next thing you know, you begin to believe that it's a character flaw, that this is just how you operate and you can't seem to shake it. But what I've learned is discipline can't fix what a poor environment broke. You can't discipline your way out of a dysfunctional environment. And so for many of us, discipline only works after your environment is set up to support you. The reality is, every day that you wake up, your environment is either making discipline easier for you or damn near impossible. So when I talk about your environment, for me, that includes everything around you and even within you. First things first, your physical environment, because it's the most obvious thing that we can see and experience every day. Is your space clear or is it cluttered? And before you say, well, it's fine, it's how I work, how long does it typically take for you to find what you need? Because that right there will tell you everything you need to know. If you're spending 10 minutes looking for a document, digging through old emails or a pile of clothes to find what you need, or clearing off your desk before you can even start working, that's you creating friction or frustration for yourself. And over time, it's going to add up. Every time you have to search for something, your brain is spending energy. It could be using to focus, AKA be disciplined, to think clearly, to follow through. In my life, when I think about the times when I was extremely inconsistent at things, it's because my physical space affected my mental space. And let me be clear, your physical environment isn't just about your desk or your workspace. It's also about the people you are around every day. If you have to go into a workplace every day, or even if it's a virtual, remote type of situation, think about the constant interruptions, the unclear expectations, the different personalities that drain you, back-to-back meetings with no breathing room. That's your environment too, and your body is reacting to all of that, whether you realize it or not. If you walk into a meeting with someone who's toxic and your nervous system is already on alert from the gazillion notifications that you get before you even open your mouth, if you start your day with back-to-back meetings and no time to think, and by noon you're already running on empty, that's not a discipline problem, that's an environment problem. Here's what else I've learned. What most people call a lack of confidence is not actually a confidence problem, it's an environment problem. When your environment isn't set up to support you, when you don't have clarity, when you're constantly interrupted, when you're not given the space to safely experiment or test or share a difference of opinion, when you're surrounded by people who drain you and you never have space to think, you can't take the steps required to build confidence. You keep telling yourself you're just not confident enough, but that was never the real story. The environment was never set up for you to win. And when you think about your physical environment not being set up for you to win, we can't discount your digital environment, which is the second environment that's often not set up for you to win. Right now, we have to be very intentional about creating a digital environment that supports us in showing up and being disciplined and focusing on what matters. That includes your phone notification, Your inbox, how many times you got to check that email, the Slack channel, blowing up all day. Every ping, every notification is pulling your attention and keeping you in reaction mode. And you can't focus when your phone won't stop buzzing. Especially now, it's even hard for me to focus if my phone is by me. Right now, I'm recording this podcast. My phone is in another room. So even looking at your digital environment and asking yourself, in fact, I want you to do something right now while you're listening to me. Pause. One, look around at your physical space. Is it helping you or hurting you? And keep it real with yourself, because that's the only way this is going to work. How long does it take for you to access the things that you need every single day? When you look at your digital environment, pick up your phone. How many notifications are turned on? And let's keep it real. Do all of these applications need to be on your phone? Because again, every single ping is a demand on your attention, and your nervous system is reacting to every single one of them, whether you realize it or not. And so we have our physical environment, we have our digital environment that we have to be mindful of. And when it comes to discipline, most of us will look for external fixes. But the reality is, once you get the inside right, the outside falls into place. Shout out to Eckhart Tolle for that quote, which brings me to the last environment you need to be very intentional about. And that is your internal environment. What's happening inside of you? Are you running on no sleep? Are you skipping meals? And listen, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to tell you what to eat, but I will say this. Pay attention to how you feel after certain meals. Because some of us are running on just caffeine or fast or heavy foods and whatever we could grab in between meetings, and then wondering why we can't focus, wondering why we're irritable or we can't follow through on anything. Your body is trying to tell you something. I'm just saying, pay attention to the connection between your food and how disciplined you are. There's a connection there. I'm going to tell y'all about the time that I wound up in the emergency room because I wasn't paying attention, but that's a story for another day. Your body is an environment too, and it's always reacting. So if you find yourself always on edge, you're reactive, you can't think straight, you can't make decisions because you haven't slept in 3 days, your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do when things feel unstable. It's more difficult for you to access the part of your brain that makes good decisions, that plans ahead, that stays focused. Because just like the internet, it goes offline sometimes. And let me be clear, because most people think being reactive means that you're always on edge or you're constantly exploding. But here's the revelation that I had to have about myself. Avoidance is reactive too. When you are dodging, having a tough conversation, putting off sending that email, finding every reason not to address a problem with someone, your internal environment is still in reactive mode. You're just quiet about it. I used to pride myself on, and I'm holding up my air quotes, y'all, protecting my magic. I'm not going to have this conversation because I'm protecting my magic. I'm not reacting. I'm keeping it together no matter what. But the reality is I was still losing it inside. The tough conversation I kept avoiding, my internal environment was in reactive mode still every single day. I didn't have that conversation. That's not discipline. That's not composure. That's just me suffering quietly because I'm still thinking about it. And so you got to be honest with yourself about the conditions of your internal environment. And maybe the most important question that you can ask is, what am I avoiding? Because whatever you're avoiding, your internal environment is already dealing with it, whether you acknowledge it or not. Your environment is happening to you, not for you. You got to realize that. But you got to be honest with yourself. And so all of these 3 conditions, when we look at your digital environment, your physical environment, and your internal environment, these conditions can either help you stay grounded or keep you reactive. Even when one of these environments are a mess, discipline becomes nearly impossible. This season of the podcast is all about helping you lead without losing it. Losing it is your calm, composure, focus, or clarity. And so when your environments are working against you, you don't just lose discipline, you lose your composure. You snap at your family members, people that you love, people at work. You send emails you later regret, and next thing you know, you're doing a walk of shame. And so discipline, confidence, composure, they all require the same thing, a foundation that's not working against you. So let's talk about for a second what works. Before you can be disciplined at anything, fix the environment first. And you can do that by asking yourself some simple yet powerful questions. I always say this: questions are your bridge to clarity, confidence, and connection. Connection is first and foremost always with yourself. Is my home set up for focus, set up for clarity, set up so that it makes things easier for me to get up and do? So I always share on this podcast, for me, the success of my day starts the night before, not the day of. And so when I look at my environment being set up, after I finish working every single day, my office functions as my exercise room as well. And so I lay out my yoga mat right in front of my desk. And so it's the first thing that I do in the morning. I cannot get to my desk unless I practice yoga because I have to jump over the mat. When we think about what it takes to be disciplined, to show up and do what you got to do, the reality is you got to look at who you surround yourself with, because that also contributes to creating or sustaining an environment that's needed to support you and showing up consistently. Earlier, I asked you to pause and look at your environment, but I'm going to ask you to pause again and think about the people you surround yourself with at home and at work and life, what have you, and ask yourself some hard questions. Am I working with people who drain me or energize me? And here's the thing. People gonna people. Okay, I said that right. People are gonna people. You're gonna get your negative Nancys, your killjoys. You're gonna get people who drain you. But I do believe that when you are dealing with different personalities and different types of people day in and day out, and you start to recognize that they are energy drainers or zappers or whatever you want to call them, while you cannot control them, you have to embrace ways that you can better control yourself during those times. And it is a sign that you need to set some boundaries. You need to set some standards. And a friendly reminder, boundaries are not just what you say, boundaries are what you show. And when we think about those people too, look, I'm just going to keep it all the way 100. Sometimes that environment isn't outside your home. It's inside it. And so if you're wondering why you're constantly on edge, you can't keep focus, you're not being disciplined enough, honestly, if it's one thing I've learned is that you cannot ignore the impact of who you live with, who you work with, and who you allow constant access to your energy. Discipline cannot outrun a dysregulating environment. Now, let me address these two mindset traps that we often find ourselves in when we're trying to be disciplined. The first mindset, Candia, every time I try to be disciplined, something happens. Let me hold your hand when I say this. Life doesn't slow down because you set a goal. And you are absolutely right. Life is going to continue to life. I'm not about to sit here and pretend that once you decide to get focused, the emails are going to stop. The kids are going to cooperate. The meetings magically shorten at work, and the unexpected just disappears. That's not how this thing called life works. Stuff is going to keep happening. That's just reality. But here's the shift I want to offer you. When you can't control what's happening around you, you've got to strengthen what's happening within you. You've got to strengthen your response to what's happening around you. You may not be able to stop the interruptions, the pressure, or the difficult or different personalities you work with every day, but you can influence how you respond to them. And that right there is what discipline actually is. Discipline is a contingent on a perfect condition. It's not forcing you to perform under perfect conditions. It's building the internal foundation that's strong enough to Stay composed, focused, and clear when conditions are anything but perfect. And let me keep it again real with you, because everybody has their day. Today may be my day, tomorrow may be your day. If you listen to my last episode about the 5 books that helped me grow, you already know your girl had a moment. I wasn't at my best. I wasn't operating at full capacity. But discipline isn't about pretending that you'll never stumble, that you're always going to have these perfect conditions. It's about simply adapting when you do. A huge part of real discipline is learning how to adjust in your environment, your physical space, your digital noise, and your internal state. So in that moment, my internal environment, because I wasn't really feeling 100, I wasn't up for peak performance. I was tired. My brain was all over the place. And another moment, I need to keep it real with y'all. I left those social media apps on my phone. So I woke up and I started scrolling. My digital environment was off. But you know what? Instead of beating myself up for not operating at 100, I adapted. I shifted what I expected from myself in that moment, and that's discipline too. Another mindset trap I want to address. Oh, this is easier said than done. There was a comment on one of my YouTube videos where someone said easier said than done. And guess what that told me? When you say easier said than done, that means you've already counted yourself out. Easier said than done isn't a reflection of the difficulty of doing that thing. It's a reflection of where your mind is before you even begin. You've already counted yourself out. And I say this with love because I've been there. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is that statement keeping me stuck? Because nothing worth having in this world, in this lifetime, is easy. And I know that's a cliche quote, but it's just true tea. Something being hard is not the same thing as something being impossible. And the moment that you stop hiding behind easier said than done is the moment you reclaim your power and give yourself a chance to show up consistently. Now, here's what I do know for sure. Reclaiming your power doesn't happen because you listen to this podcast episode and suddenly you feel inspired to be disciplined. It happens when you make it a daily practice. It happens when you have the tools that can help you regulate, reset, and think clearly in the moment. And that's exactly why I created the Lead Without Losing It guide, not because you need more motivation, not because you need another productivity hack, but because in those moments, when everything feels loud and discipline feels impossible, you need something practical that can help you steady your internal environment so that you can focus on what truly matters in the moment. It's a free guide. It's going to walk you through how to reset your nervous system, clear your head, and regain your composure so you can respond instead of react. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's designed for the messy, middle, unpredictable, life keeps lifing kind of thing. I'm going to include the link in the show notes so you can download it. Anywho, if this episode hit home for you today, I want you to do 3 things. Follow the show so you never miss an episode. Leave a review because it helps more people like you find me. And lastly, share this episode with someone who needs it today. You know, when you was listening to this episode, you probably thought, oh, such and such, she need to hear this. Share that with her or him. You already know who came to mind. Come on now, do your girl a favor. Talk soon.